everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we are doing something exciting. We are doing my first Q&A. When I say my first Q&A, I mean where I've actually gotten questions from like other people and not just use like question tags, because I know I've done a few, like I did like a get to know me video and then I did 20 like interesting questions or something video a while back, but this is the first one where people have like actually asked me questions, which is super exciting. So huge thank you to anyone who asked me a question, because it sounds silly but it actually made me feel like so valid doing what I was doing, like doing YouTube and thinking that people actually watch my videos and actually care and things like that. So honestly, meant the world that people asked me questions. Just some first things: if you can hear really like muffled music, the shop that we live above has just decided that she likes to play music really loud all the time now, so you can hear that. And Jack's tidying up, so you might be able to hear little clangs and stuff. There was one because he's putting like my chair and things away, so yeah, there's stuff like that. But I don't know how long this video is going to be because I didn't get like loads and loads of questions, but we'll crack on. I thought, so I had quite a few questions about Oakley. If you're new here, Oakley is my puppy. Keep calling him a puppy. He's 10 months old, so I feel like I'm maybe not going to be allowed to call him a puppy for a little bit longer, but I'm going to cling on to it until he turns a year old. Oakley is my 10-month-old puppy, Cocker Spaniel puppy. I do a lot of content on him, so I had quite a few questions about him, so I thought I'd get them out the way first and then move on to ones that weren't related to him. So I'm just going to go in order. So someone asked, how are you training Oakley to not jump up at the counters, tables, etc.? What we do, so Oakley always has a line on him. He always wears a house line, or he has his lead on him, and he also knows the word off. So when he was young, we did some kind of like training where we put something on top of the benches in the kitchen. They're kind of like the things that we use, or I used like the chair. I put something that he wanted up there, and then when he went to go up to it, I'd say off before he jumped up onto it, and then kind of like give good boy, and then if he looked like he was about to do it and I said off and he like moved away from it, then I'd reward him. So we've kind of been doing it where it's like we're kind of training him the behaviour that we want rather than training him out of the behaviour that he does. He does jump up, he still does it. He's not so much jumping up on counters, he never jumps up on the chair really anymore. It's more us that he still jumps up on, and I think that's our fault, because sometimes we'll be like he jumps onto us and we give him like a cuddle kind of thing, so that's definitely our fault. But he is getting better with the counters. It's the kind of thing where like we are always watching him to do that, because obviously we crate train him. So if he's out of his crate, we are there, we are watching him, we are supervising him, so we know if he's going to do it. So we'll always look for whether he is going to do it, and if we see him like going to go up, we'll say off. If he stays down, we'll reward him for it. But and then because he knows that he's just not allowed to jump up, he doesn't do it a lot more. Like he was bad at it, but he's definitely improving now, and I think it's just because he hasn't had a chance to like rehearse that behavior, so he just doesn't do it. It's because he knows that that's not something that he does. So yeah, that's kind of how we train it. And it's the same for jumping up. If he's up when we haven't asked him to be off, we'll say off as well. And if he jumps up at something, we'll say off, and he knows that that means like, oh, I'm meant to be on the floor. So that's kind of like how we're training that one. I hope that answered that question. Next one, what's the best thing about having a dog and the worst? Right, this is going to sound really pessimistic, but I feel like there's a lot more bad things than good things currently, just because of how hard I take his training. And I know this isn't the same for everyone, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna be completely honest, because I don't want to just be like, oh, it's amazing, it's so good, when actually I am finding it quite hard. I'll do the bad things first and then I'll do the good things. So the bad things are that I think this is a really personal thing for me. I don't think everyone gets this, but for me, I struggle with the idea of that his whole life is surrounded by like his whole life is dictated by us, and that he doesn't really get to do much unless we do something. And I feel a lot of guilt for that. Like I feel like so bad that this living thing can't really do anything unless we let him, or we take him somewhere to do something, and I just feel really bad about it. And obviously the other bad things are things like he's training. It's really hard. It's hard to find the time in the day to do it, because it is for me, because I take it so seriously and I spend a lot of time with Oakley, I'd liken it to having a child, and I would never dream of saying that I have it as hard as a parent, but I am a dog parent, and he takes up a lot of my time. Like, I didn't realize how much time he would take up because we train him so much and we have to take him for a walk in the morning and things like that, so he definitely takes up a lot of time. But I suppose on the flip side of that, the good thing is that he takes up that time, and like, I want to give him that time of day because he's my dog and I want him to succeed in things, and I want him to have fun and have something to do, because obviously training is hard and it's challenging for him, but it gives him something to do. Like, dogs like to be in a position where they're challenging themselves and doing some sort of training, so that's a good thing that I get to provide that for him, because I do take it so seriously. Like, there's not a day really that he doesn't get trained or he doesn't have some kind of challenge in his day. Another good thing is just how adorable he is. Like, he's just so cute, and you can't forget about that. If you if you need a dose of cuteness in your day, he is there. And also just how much he loves to cuddle. It's just so lovely how much he wants to be near us, and even though it's a bad thing that he cries when we're out of the room and he's not very happy when he's not with us, it is kind of lovely to know that somebody loves you that much and wants to be with you that much, and he needs you, and it provides that for you. And also, he provides me with things that benefit me, so I have to take him for a walk in the morning, and that gets my steps in. Like, that's a good thing for me as well. I mean, obviously not as much as a walk would do if I didn't have Oakley, but because I have Oakley, I have to go out, I have to do these things, and I have to structure my day a little bit. So I probably, if I had to narrow them down to like one each, I'd probably say the worst thing is just, I don't know, I haven't even mentioned this, it's like seeing them upset and not knowing what to do about it. So if you're new to the channel, Oakley's having some issues with crying in his crate at the minute. We're getting professional help, so we are trying to sort it, so please don't feel like you need to like recommend stuff. We're getting professional help, but it's so hard knowing that something's wrong or that he's crying and you can't communicate about it. I mean, it's the same with the baby, but not being able to just be like, right, what's wrong, tell me what's wrong, like, that's so hard. So I'd probably say like that's the worst, but the best thing is probably just it's cuddles and how much he loves us and how much he wants to be around us. So I hope that wasn't just a rambly question. I'd probably say I'd narrow it down to them if I had to give one for each answer. Right, someone's asked something odd that Oakley does, and Oakley's just an odd dog, I think. Like, there's so many things that he does that's like odd, but I don't know if it is odd because I haven't had that much exposure. Like, I don't have any friends that have dogs, or I don't know that many people who have dogs, so I don't know if it's odd. He won't get stroked unless he's on his back. Like, as soon as you touch him, he flips on his back for a stroke. Like, he just loves it. I might have to get Jack to help me. Jack, yeah? Something odd that Oakley does. Huh? Everything. Yes, he's an odd dog. He won't play fetch. He's not interested in fetch. We're going to try and train him for it, but he's not. He would rather just walk around the garden with something in his mouth. Oh, he won't drink water unless he thinks it came from our bottles, or he won't drink water unless it's fresh. Like, if he knows the water's been sitting there for like even longer than 5 minutes, he won't go near it, but as soon as we give him fresh water, he downs it. Yeah, I can't really think of anything more. He's just I don't know, he's just a weird dog, but I wouldn't say it's anything specific. It's just he's a weird dog, so I'm sorry that that's not a very good answer. Let's find the next Oakley question. Okay, last one. Have you ever felt really down because of Oakley? If so, how did you get to a better place? So, yeah, really down with Oakley. So, you guys might have seen the video that I did where I did an Oakley update. So before I started getting that hate on my Oakley videos, like quite intensely, we were going through a really rough time with Oakley anyway. And I mean, like I've mentioned before, we're still going through it, where he cries in his crate. And I very much don't want him to stop crate training them, because I know it's really valuable for them, having their own space, like they're den animals, they need the crate kind of thing. So I don't want to give up on it, but it's just so hard sitting and listening to him cry. And I know people are going to be like, we shouldn't just sit and listen to him to a cry, but guys, like, I mean it when I say we tried everything. Like, he'd sit and cry in his crate when he was literally, when we were touching the crate. He'd been out for a drink, he's been out for, like, he'd had food, he's been out for the toilet, he's been out for training, and he'd been out playing. He would still sit in his crate and cry. And he had this issue at the same time that was happening, where if I went to put, I think I've talked about this on old vlogs, but if I put my hand in his collar, which is something McCann dogs recommend on their videos if they're doing something they shouldn't, he would just go crazy. Like, he would scratch at my arms, he would flip himself over, so it would be like his neck was hanging from my hand, and he would flip and flip and flip, and he would like go for my hand and bite it. And we've since I wouldn't say solved the correct word, he doesn't do that anywhere near as much now. Like, I think he did it yesterday for the first time in ages, and I think it was just because he was a bit too hyped up and overtired. And it was just, as that was happening and he was crying in his crate, like, you guys know how serious I take his training if you know the channel, and to just have him so upset all the time, and then for him to be like trying to go for me and trying to scratch me, it was so hard. It was so hard, because you just want to love them. Like, you just want to love them and cuddle with them and have the best relationship in the world, and then when there's things going on that doesn't really match with that, it's really, really hard. The like scratchy issue was just kind of, we've talked to a trainer and we've like, it's not happening anymore, so we can assume that this is the correct thing. But he was getting like attention from me doing that, and getting in that, like, I think Carol put it as like a kerfuffle, that he liked the attention that he got from doing that. So we've stopped it, and he doesn't do it anymore, so that is better. And then the crate training it's still getting there, it is improving, but we're still on a journey with that. And it just, when it was so constant, like, I was crying like nearly every day, because I was like, I can't do this, I can't listen to him like this, why can't I make him feel better? Because even when we let him out of his crate, it wouldn't stop. Like, he still cries outside of his crate, and he just like never stops. He still doesn't stop, but he would move around the room, he wouldn't lie down, he's constantly switched on, and it's just so hard. And in terms of how I got out of that, I'm not gonna lie, like, I don't think there was anything that got me out of that. I think it was just time. Like, nothing I could do made it feel better, apart from maybe getting help with him and having what I thought validated, because it was very much a case of, I was like, I'm obviously doing something wrong, I'm making him cry, and then I got all that hate as well, so then it was just making it worse. But I was just so convinced that it was me and I'm doing something wrong. And obviously Jack was really supportive. Jack was saying it wasn't me, it was just him, but you don't listen, do you? You just have what you have in your head. And then when I got that external validation of being like, no, you're doing things right, he, like, the dog that he is, he's like finding this challenging, and we just need to change it up a bit. And Carol was so good in a way of that, like, she never blamed me, and she never was like, this is what you're doing wrong. It was just like, right, we'll try this. And that really helped, because I just felt like I could breathe a bit of sigh of relief for being like, okay, right, I am doing the right thing. So yeah, but then it's just time. I still really struggle with it now when he's crying, but like I say, we are getting help. So maybe I would say that that's the only thing that helped me get out of that place, is going to a professional to make sure that I was doing the right thing. I think that was the last Oakley question, so we'll move on to stuff about me now. So what do you enjoy most about doing hauls, / what made you want to do hauls in the first place? So with YouTube, for me, I use this very much as a platform for trying to reach people. I've mentioned that before. I try and do things where I'm like, I want people to know that you can, if you're like me, that's completely fine, because that's what I found in YouTube. Like, when I first started watching it, it really like expanded my horizons for what like personalities can be, and how however you are is completely okay and you don't need to change for anyone. But I also very much use it as an excuse for doing stuff that I'd never ever do, because for me, I struggle with this thing where if it isn't productive, I don't like to do it. So if it's a hobby, I don't really have any hobbies, because if I don't have a reason for doing that, I don't see the point in doing it, so I just don't do it. So with YouTube, I use it very much as I would never ever do this, but if I create a video, if I create a video, I'm doing it because I'm doing a video. And hauls are exactly the same. Like, I would never order like a big bunch of clothes and try them all on if I didn't do these videos. Like, before YouTube, I literally was just like so averse to the idea of buying clothes, because I was like, but what's the point? Why would be the point? But now that I have this excuse to do it, I love doing it. Like, it's unlocked something that I really like to do in me. And it's the same with loads of videos. Like, I love the ones where, like, the one where, like, food challenges with Jack. I love the whole, like, the TikTok aspects. I would never do, why would I do that without YouTube? In my head, that's what it's like. So that's kind of why I wanted to start doing them, and people like them. So for me, it's only benefits, really. I mean, I return most of the stuff, so it's not like I'm spending a ton of money, but yeah, that's kind of the reasons that I like doing them, and I do really enjoy doing them. And there's a lot coming up in the channel because me and Jack are going on holiday, so I hope you guys enjoy them too. Has your relationship with Jack changed through lockdowns? PS, love watching your videos. Thank you so much, Emily. So with me and Jack, he's sitting there, so I feel pressure.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's just came in because he's tidying. See, people are going to think that I'm changing my answer because he's sitting there now.
No, I'm not listening.
Okay, thank you. Me and Jack are super open about everything, and we kind of always have been. So I've mentioned it on some previous videos, but if you're new or haven't seen them, me and Jack are coming up to 10 years in July. So we've been together a very long time, and we have had like phases of our relationship where it's been very different. So at the beginning of the relationship, we were very intense, and then we had like uni where we were long distance. Technically, we didn't live together, and we had that, and then straight away went into lockdown because I was still at uni when lockdown happened. So I literally went from living in uni and being there for 2 weeks, coming home for 2 days, and then going back for 2 weeks, to coming home for Easter and then never going back to uni. So it did go from very extreme to the other, but because me and Jack have always had this very secure relationship, it didn't really change for us, because our ideal before lockdown would have been to be together all the time anyway, because we didn't like it when he used to go to work. Like, he changed jobs in lockdown.
Twice.
The first one, when was the first? Was that in lockdown?
Yeah,
but you got the job before lockdown started, didn't you? He went to a new job, and he purposefully went to a new job where he could work from home a few days of the week, because we want to spend as much time together as possible. So I feel like when lockdown happened, it really wasn't any different from what we wanted anyway. So it just kind of felt like the usual. And I think now it would be odd going back to it. So Jack's got a new job again, and he's working away 1 day of the week, which doesn't feel weird or anything, because like I say, we went long distance and didn't see each other for like 2 weeks at a time. But we don't really want to be apart for like longer than that. Like, I don't think Jack will ever go back into a job where he's in the office 5 days a week, because we like this. And can you please just clarify that this isn't just me being completely clingy? Can you also say that you want to be home all the time?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So nothing really changed, apart from, I haven't really talked about this on the channel, and I'm not going to here, but something happened over lockdown with me. Obviously there was the eating disorder stuff that I'm going through, and there's something else that happened where I've kind of discovered a lot more about myself. And I'd probably say that I've changed a lot over lockdown, like quite a bit. And if anything, like, we've stayed the same even though I've changed, and Jack's became like even more supportive of that. So I wouldn't say anything's particularly changed in our relationship, but Jack's became such more of support to me, and we finally live together full time. So that's kind of like the only things that have changed. Next question. So what is your opinion on body hair? I'm going to separate this question into 2 parts, because I see this as very, like, there's 2 questions within this. So first I'm going to answer what my opinion on body hair in general is, and then what my opinion on body hair on me is. Because with the general question, I couldn't give any cares in the world about body hair, because literally I do not see the issue with it in the slightest. If everybody in this world wants to have natural, no kind of shaven kind of body hair, I wouldn't care. Like, it is completely down to the person, and I don't find it aversive. I don't dislike it in terms of the general population. I am so much on the side of you do you, have hair if you want to have hair, don't have hair if you want to have hair, it's your decision. So on the other side of that, I feel like there's like my personal opinion on me and also on like my partner, but rather like that's completely separate to what I think of everyone else. So for me personally, it kind of changes by body part. I don't know if this is going to be TMI for you guys, but I am I'm a very open book. So with body hair, with armpits, I'm very like I just don't care about my armpit hair. I'll only shave it if I like am getting to the point where I'm like, it's kind of getting in my way a little bit. Like, I think the longest I got it was before I did the soft girl video, and I only shaved that because I didn't think it would go tie in with like the soft girl look, and I really don't mind. But it gets to the point where if I get it to the point where it is starting, I can feel it when I'm training, because that is a really like heavy thing for me. If I can feel it when I'm training, then I shave it. I don't trim it or anything. Like, I don't have the ambition to have hair there, but I don't mind it there. I don't mind it at all. In terms of my legs, I don't shave my legs. I am very fortunate that I have blonde hair on my legs, so I don't really shave them. I only shave them if I am going for like a particular look where I'd like shaved clean legs, but I don't mind. I honestly, I hardly ever shave my legs. In terms of down there, I'm going to include this because it is included. I personally don't like it too long down there because I just find it gets in the way. I know people have very different, like, not opinions on this. People find this very different. Like, I know girls who find it really uncomfortable to be shaved and other way around as well. I kind of like it not completely shaved, but not long. Like, long stubble, that's kind of what I go for down there. I know that person who answered that question probably wasn't after what kind of hair I have all over my body, but you got that anyway. In terms of my partner with body hair, I don't really like hair on the torso. I don't mind hair anywhere else, but torso hair, I just don't really like it because I just don't like the feel of it. And Jack's zipping up because he's got hair there at the minute. This is the thing, like, I would never ever tell Jack he has to shave in certain places. He knows my preferences, but Jack has got hair on his torso and he's not shaving it at the minute because that's what he wants to do.
Mainly laziness.
Mainly laziness. That's me with my armpits. That's what it is. So yeah, I honestly do not care about body hair. Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? Honestly, questions like this, I have no idea, babe. Like,
out of lockdown?
We better be out of lockdown by then. 5 years. I don't really have a good grasp on future, and I'm not like, this isn't a backlash to whoever asked this question. It is a really good question, but it's just I really struggle with thinking about the future. I genuinely have no idea where I want to be in 5 years' time. I'd like to be married. That's probably a safe bet. I'd like to have lots more of you lovely people subscribe to me. I'd quite like to be doing YouTube full time. I know that's a very big ask, but I'd quite like to be doing this full time. Maybe have another holiday home. We let them out. It's like a holiday home business, by the way. I don't mean like we have a holiday home. I mean like maybe have another holiday home within our holiday home business. That's kind of the only things that I know. The rest of it, I have no idea. I want to have travelled more. Yeah, that's a big one. I want to have travelled more, 100%, because we were meant to be travelling quite a bit this year, but COVID's still not gone. So yeah, they're kind of the main things. Married, travelled more, YouTube full time, and probably they're just the main big three. The last question I'm going to answer is about eating disorder stuff, so if you guys want to skip a little bit, that's completely fine, but I'll just answer it quickly. So honestly, if you don't want to watch this, that's fine, just skip a little bit. The question is, I'm sorry if this is too sensitive, but how did you know when to go to the doctors for your ED and symptoms? I don't have any questions that I won't answer, so honestly don't worry about asking this question. I went to the doctors far too late with my eating disorder. I'd say that I'd already recovered a little bit after my eating disorder when I went to the doctors. So at the peak of my eating disorder, it was to the point where I was eating I'm really sorry if this is triggering. I was eating like 1,000 calories a day. I was doing 12,000 steps. I was doing half an hour cardio and weight training 5 days a week. All the other stuff was every single day. And it got to a point where I was crying at night if I had any plans that involved food, because I was so worried about eating that food and putting weight on. And that was when I should have went to the doctors. Like, I 100% should have sought some help then. I had no energy, and I was at university. Like, it was not a good thing. And I actually went to the doctors when I went through a bit of a binging stage. When I say binging, I don't mean clinical binging. It wasn't to the point where it was a lot of food, but it was a lot more than what I was eating. Like, I probably went from eating like 1,000 calories a day to maybe eating like 4,000 calories a day, because I was just consuming so much chocolate, so much food. And it was after that, and I'd put on all my weight back on, that I kind of was like, yeah, this isn't healthy. And I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life, because I do that. Like, I'll cut and then binge and then cut and then binge, and I, as a personal trainer, know that's not healthy. I know I shouldn't be doing that. So I was like, I can't do this for the rest of my life. I can't. And also being on here kind of pushed me a little bit as well, because it's like, I can't come on YouTube and talk about eating and talk about loving your body, but then know I have an issue and not be trying to seek help for it. So I just knew I couldn't, and all of my day is consumed with either worrying about how I look or food, and I'm just tired. Like, I just got tired. I still do it. I'm still getting help. I might do a little bit of an update for you guys for this, because I've actually started my counselling now, but it's still pretty rough. But I just couldn't do it anymore. Like, it's just so tiring, and it was getting to the point where I was like, I can't spend another night in bed thinking about the food that I'm gonna have the next day and worrying about it so much. And I can't put Jack through it either. Like, it's not, he would never say it was too much, or he would never say that he was sick of it or anything like that, but I'm sick of putting him through this as well, because obviously when I get upset, he sees me get upset. When I'm thinking about food, I'm talking about food to him and getting so in my head about it. So yeah, that's kind of when I knew it was time to talk to the doctor. But like I say, I went far too late. I should have went like a year earlier. So that was all of the questions, apart from a load of questions one of my best friend Laurie's mentioned. I'm sorry I didn't answer any of your questions, babe, but yeah, that was kind of all of the questions. So I hope that went well. Like I say, this was my first Q&A, so I don't know how it went. I'm sorry if I talked for far too long, and I just want to say again, thank you so much to everyone who asked a question. Like, you guys have no idea how much it meant to me, so thank you so much for asking those questions, and thank you so much for watching. I'd love to do more of these, so if you guys like this, please like it so I know that you liked it, and leave a comment if you want me to do more or anything like that. So yeah, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you again so much for watching. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe, get me on that goal to doing YouTube full time, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye guys. Mwah.